Hello, people. I'm just making this really quick video just to let you guys know we have a bunch of new subscribers on the channel, so thank you so much for that. And before we get started with this video, I know it seems like I haven't posted in a while, in a few weeks, but I actually did post a Mortal Kombat 2021 movie reaction. But that video, after like 2 days, it accumulated like 400 views, pretty good for my channel. It got taken down for some reason, and I got hit with a copyright strike. So I'm trying to resolve that, but I have posted that video just for some reason. I don't know why. It can happen with movie reactions and stuff like that. They can get taken down. So it got taken down. I got hit with a copyright strike. Not great, but I'm trying to resolve that. But yeah, that's all I want to let you guys know. I know in this video I'm gonna say check out the Mortal Kombat reaction. That's just in case I end up getting the video back up on the channel because it accumulated some views. It was doing pretty good. But yeah, that's all I had to say. Enjoy the rest of the video.
Before we get started, let me know down in the comments which one did you like more, WandaVision or Falcon and the Winter Soldier? I would love to know which one people like more. Hey guys, how's it going on? Welcome back to another video, and in today's video, we're going to be wrapping up Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We're going to be talking about episode 6, which is called One World, One People, the finale. And then we'll also be talking about, was it disappointing? Was it great? Was it just okay? And where do we go in the future in terms of Captain America stories? But before we get started, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. And check out some other videos. Just posted the Mortal Kombat 2021 movie reaction. It's up on the channel. So if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, if you watched the movie, check that out. I'd really appreciate that. I think this episode was very action focused. It's showcasing Sam Wilson as Captain America. It's his first showcase as Captain America. In the last episode, we were left on a cliffhanger. He opens the box from Wakanda. Is it wings? Is it a new suit? What does it all look like? We don't know. In this episode, we get to see the suit in all of its glory. And for majority, what I saw online and what I think, the suit is awesome. I think the suit is great. However, I do have one problem with it, that I think the cowl. The cowl is too much. It rides up like all the way up to like the back of his head here, covers like his ears a little bit. The cowl is too much. I hope they get rid of it. It makes him look silly. But in general, just the whole suit itself, awesome. Super sick. I love the way they did his new jetpack. I love the way he uses the wings. The way it all combines with the shield. The way he flies with the shield is also awesome. He like throws it and then jumps after it to go catch it. Awesome. That is great. And in terms of that, in terms of the direction on the action with Sam Wilson flying and everything, they did an awesome job showcasing Sam Wilson as the Falcon, as the new Falcon Captain America hybrid, flying through the air, doing all these crazy new stunts with the shield, with the wings, the way he's able to maneuver through things, take out bad guys, take out helicopters. I thought they did a really good job with that. At the end there, with that final speech, like a 3 to 5 minute speech, it was great. Got everybody, got me motivated. The delivery from Anthony Mackie was fantastic. I really liked that speech, and he really got that whole characteristics of the new version of Captain America. He still keeps his like Sam Wilson-esque swagger to him, but in general, the whole Captain America thing he's got on point, and I can't wait to see what he does in the future. My favorite moment, however, from Sam Wilson is when he takes Isaiah Bradley to the Captain America exhibit, and he shows him that he put Isaiah Bradley's story and his whole legacy into that museum so people can learn about him, and they won't forget about him. And that was just such a beautiful scene, man. It was so powerful, so good, nearly brought tears to my eyes. I was tearing up watching that. Executed so well. Just a beautiful scene, and you can see how much that meant to Isaiah Bradley. Isaiah Bradley, he wasn't in the show like that much, but he was actually a very key player in the whole show, and he got his own little character development in this. He went from being this guy who was, again, thrown away by his country, and he kind of hates his country for the fact that they erased him completely, to now at the end where he gets his due. Sam puts him in the museum and he tells him nobody will ever forget your legacy. Everybody will learn about him, and you can just see how much that meant to Isaiah Bradley. However, as many beautiful and awesome moments Sam Wilson has in this episode, we have to talk about just this one moment in the whole 3 to 5 minute speech that he gives there. He kind of tells the senators, you gotta do better. And it's like, well, how? Is this show going to provide an answer how? Now, this is something that I noticed that Marvel has been doing with their villains and their kind of ideologies and the way they've been wrapping them up. So here in this show, we have Carly as the villain. And her whole thing was that, she wanted to save her own people because her own people were getting, like, pushed out because of everybody that came back from the snap and they were all being mistreated. And she just wanted to save her people. And we all looked at that cause, and we might not like Carly as a character, but I think we can all agree that she had a point in terms of the thing that she was fighting for. It was a good cause. And that's what Sam says at the end to the senators, right? He says, she died for her cause. Like, it's not a bad cause. You got to stop calling her a terrorist. You got to try to fix the situation. But they never really provide a way to fix the situation. They stopped GRC from making the vote, but that's about where we pause. And here's an example that I have of Marvel doing this in the past as well, of not fully answering the villain's main question. Here we have Thanos. Thanos' whole idea was that the world is being overpopulated, not enough resources to go around, so I'm gonna go snap my fingers and bring balance to everybody by wiping 50% of everybody in the universe. And then 5 years passed. So in those 5 years, new people were born, the population kept growing, and then all of a sudden, 1 billion people came back. So now we left Endgame with not half people gone, but the population kind of doubles. You know what I mean? Like, in those 5 years, population kept growing. So now let's say Thanos was right that there's overpopulation in the universe. He wasn't only talking about planet Earth, he was talking about the whole universe. So let's say Earth is fine, there isn't overpopulation. But there's definitely a planet that benefited from the snap, like a lot. 50% of that planet being gone. They benefited from that a lot. Resources kept going. And then all of a sudden, now their population is doubled, and now it's like more of a problem. In Infinity War, I think we all agree that Thanos had a good point. Overpopulation, 50% gotta go. We're like, okay, we don't really agree with your means, but we see where you're coming from, that this could potentially be a problem. And then the Avengers brought everybody back. That doubles everything. So now there's even more of a problem. But we're not going to really address that. Same thing here with Carly. We look at Carly. We're like, we don't agree with the way you're doing things. But you bring up a good point that we have to, address this cause. So now Carly dies. And Sam goes to the senator. And he's like, you got to do better, Senator. Well, how? Are you going to provide a solution to this problem that Carly was talking about? Carly's gone now, but her problem is still out there, so how are we gonna solve it? I really hope that made sense. I was just blabbing on over here. Hopefully that made sense. Alright, listen, I went off the rails there for a little bit, but since I was on the topic, let's talk about Carly Morgenthau and the Flag Smashers. Now, I remember when I did my episode 1 through 3 review, that was just the introduction to them, and I said I gotta see more of them to kind of understand if I'm gonna like them or not. And by the end of this finale, I'm kind of happy we're done with them. They were kind of just getting nowhere and kind of started becoming a little annoying. And I was not cheering for Carly at all the way the show wanted me to cheer for her. So I'm happy that we completely wrapped up the Flag Smashers. I would have preferred the show just focusing on maybe John Walker and Zemo, something like that. But I understand why the Flag Smashers were introduced in the show and why we had to deal with them. But in general, yeah, they were just kind of forgettable at the end of it all. I was kind of hoping that we were going to build them up even more, and I was actually going to cheer for them at some point. But, yeah, it just didn't stick the landing, really. Also, who the hell does Carly think she is, calling Bucky Barnes and telling him, I'm fighting for something greater than myself? Could you ever say that about yourself? The man fought Nazis, and the guy was in Infinity War and Endgame fighting Thanos to save your world. How are you going to tell him that he has never fought for anything but himself? That's all he's been doing his whole life. I mean, he basically tells her that, but Carly did no research about who she was fighting. Come on. Alright, since I'm on this topic, let's talk about Bucky Barnes now. And I've been saying that Bucky is one of my favorite MCU characters. Out of the pair, he's probably my favorite. And I was really looking for this big action sequence for Bucky, the Winter Soldier. And unfortunately, I didn't get that. At the end, in the 6th episode, he does punch some people. He does save the people from the truck, from the burning truck, which I like that scene because one of the guys comes out of it and he really thanks him. You could see that like really meant a lot to Bucky, which made me think that, yeah, no one has really thanked him yet for being a hero. This is like his first big thank you from a civilian for saving his life. He really felt that. He was like, oh, ooh, this is what it feels like being a hero? Ooh, I like this. This show is presented to you as a 50-50 split in terms of character focus, but it really isn't. It's more of a 70-30, I would say. Now, I understand that this show potentially exists only to build Sam Wilson as Captain America. So at the end of the show, we see his whole journey to becoming Captain America, and now he can move on to the movies. So I understand the big focus on Sam, but I kind of wish the split was more, not 50-50, but maybe like 60-40, that we showed Bucky a little bit of love. In terms of the action, I would say we showed Bucky Barnes a lot of love in terms of just the person that he is and his character growth and his interactions as a human. But in terms of action sequences, I just needed a little bit more there. I wanted to see some cool Winter Soldier action sequences. I felt like there in the finale, Sam was taking care of the helicopter. You could have given Bucky something cooler to do, or for him to take some people out here and there. But yeah, I just wanted to see him do some more, and unfortunately, that left me a little bit disappointed that I never got to see that really cool Winter Soldier moment, which kind of does scare me because somebody did bring this up on the internet. Bucky, the Winter Soldier, potentially will never be as cool as he was in Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Just because he's no longer that person and he kind of holds himself back nowadays. But listen, if there's a movie, if there's a season 2, I really need him to unleash himself at some point. And come on, let's get some cool Bucky action sequences here. He's supposed to be a better fighter than every Flag Smasher ever, but somehow they still go toe-to-toe with him. I kind of wish the show wasn't nerfing him so much. I love the things that we're doing with Bucky Barnes, the character, the therapy and everything, and him mentally trying to fix everything, but it's just the action sequences. I need a little bit more from him. The internet did bring up a good point with that title card at the end. It says Captain America and the Winter Soldier, which is cool, right? Because Sam starts as the Falcon and he grows into Captain America, so the title changes. It makes sense. But people were like, hold up. Sam got character development, but Bucky also had an arc. He's kind of no longer the Winter Soldier, so why are you going to call it Captain America and the Winter Soldier? Well, first of all, I think that the Winter Soldier just sounds cooler than the White Wolf. I mean, the other option was the White Wolf, and I kind of thought that they would have went this way because they called him the White Wolf a lot in this season, more than they have ever called him in the MCU. I think he was once called that in Infinity War, but in this whole show, multiple people called him the White, even himself, he himself called himself the White Wolf at some point. So maybe the title could have completely changed to Captain America and the White Wolf, but does that sound better than Captain America and the Winter Soldier? The Winter Soldier just sounds better in my opinion. Even the head writer himself, Malcolm Spellman, did say that he kind of hopes that people will just forget about that final title card. Bucky is officially no longer the Winter Soldier. I'd still be down with the White Wolf thing, but you just have to get like everybody on board with that. The Winter Soldier just sounds better, and I guess for marketing, it just flows off the tongue better than Captain America and the White Wolf. But now, let's talk about John Walker. Because in this episode, he shows up with his DIY shield, and it's kind of, I love the way that it makes a different noise to the actual shield. It makes like this clunky metal noise because he did build it himself, and it does break right away. But man, I could not tell you how proud I felt of him when he made the right decision by pulling that truck. I felt so proud of him because that's his character. He wants to do the right thing sometimes, but he's just not wired like that sometimes. But in that moment, he was like, I'm gonna do the right thing here, and he did the right thing, and I cannot tell you how proud I am of him. But the big moment for John Walker in this episode was when Val declared him as the U.S. agent, and he gets the comic book accurate black suit, which looks really cool. And, oh man, I really feel like John Walker, U.S. agent storyline is potentially going to be a very tragic one and a sad one. Because as soon as Val calls them the U.S. agent, she's like, things are going to get weird, keep your phone on. And then she leaves, and he's like, all right, bye, Val. And he's like super excited. He's like a little kid. He's like, I'm back, yeah. And his wife is happy, and they're hugging. And again, this is going all the way back to the idea of that John Walker always wants to do the right thing. He wants to be the hero. And I think he thinks that he's being recruited to be a hero. Not Captain America, but he's like, I'm the US agent. I'm going to go do hero stuff as the US agent. But I feel like Val has some other things for you to do that are going to be evil and are going to break his character and lead him onto a different path. And it made me really sad inside as I saw him celebrate, because I was like, oh man, this guy's happy, but he has no idea what he's walking into right now. Val is going to turn him evil, and it's going to be just sad because you do realize that him as a person, like, he wants to be the hero. But Val is just going to take advantage of that, and she's going to make him do some crazy shit. But I'm so happy we still have him. I'm happy that we still have Wyatt Russell, whether it's a movie or season 2. I'm happy that we're going into the future with him. Apparently Captain America 4 is in the works, so hopefully he's the main villain in Captain America 4. That could be something cool. Or I hope down the road in the MCU he plays kind of like an anti-hero role, where sometimes he does bad things, but sometimes he makes the right decision. Kind of like Loki, right? You never know what you're going to get. And I think that's what makes a really good character. They're unpredictable, and you just never know which direction they're going to go in. That keeps them interesting always. It's easy just to make him a straight up villain, nothing layered. Val makes him evil and he goes on this path. But playing with the idea of that he does a bad thing, but he does a good thing, and the audience are split and they're like, I don't know whether to like this guy or hate this guy. That's what's great. I think that's why we all love Loki so much. And I think that's what could be really cool about John Walker if they did that. By the way, how shocked were you when Sharon Carter turned out to be the power broker? Come on, nobody saw that coming. It's not like the internet in the first episode when she showed up, we were all like, oh yeah, she's probably the power broker. None of us predicted that. You really got us there, Marvel. It's funny because in WandaVision, everybody was making these predictions and all of them were wrong. But in this one show, everybody makes one prediction and it's right. Sharon Carter is the power broker. And at the end, the post-credit scene, we see her make a phone call to somebody, and she's talking about weapons, which somebody did bring up a good point that maybe not the next Captain America story, she becomes like a bad guy or something. Maybe this is leading into Armor Wars. I mean, the whole show is called Armor Wars. Even though I don't know the full plot details of it, of what's going to happen in it, it does seem like it's going to focus on Tony's tech and armor and weapons a lot of the time. So it seems like it's potentially setting up that route, which, I mean, that's cool. You know, separate Sharon Carter from the Captain America story a little bit. Make her go in a different direction, go into Armor Wars, see how that goes. Which I think, yeah, that's probably the possibility of where we're heading. Maybe John Walker goes into the Captain America story and Sharon Carter branches off into Armor Wars and does another thing or something. But yeah, the whole power broker thing, we all predicted that. In general, I think the episode was pretty cool, very action-packed. Some people are saying it's a bit underwhelming, which I'm going to have to agree with that. It left me wanting just a little bit more. More specifically, there's a scene where Bucky has to go to the old man and he has to tell him that he killed his son. That was set up all the way in episode 1, and it was mentioned a little bit throughout the season. And there's this whole moment that's been building up. And in episode 5 review, I said that, oh, this is going to be like a heartbreaking scene and it's going to be great. No, Bucky just kind of shows up, tells him that he killed his son. There's a little bit of emotion there. Sebastian Stan's doing his best with acting. But then we just like cut away and then we're done. And then we're gone. We leave that scene. That's it. We're done. And then it's just kind of like, whoa, okay, can we just like stick with that for a little bit more? What happens after? What was the old man's reaction? Did he get mad at Bucky? Did he not get mad at Bucky? I hit my mic, sorry. What is the whole thing here? So I think with those kind of scenes, and earlier I mentioned how I wanted to see more Winter Soldier action, the episode left me wanting just a little bit more. But in general, I think the episode was pretty good. It's a good wrap up to this series. I guess it's going to be the ending of the series, because as soon as this episode aired, Captain America 4 was apparently already in development at Marvel Studios. They're already announcing. Written by Malcolm Spellman, who wrote this show, which, you know, Malcolm was doing his thing on this show, so I'm happy he gets to return. I hope Kari Skoglund gets to return, because I think she did a fantastic job directing this whole series. I would love to see her directing this big Marvel movie on the big screen. And what I also need from Captain America 4, I don't care who the villain is, I don't care who we're fighting, I need Bucky, White Wolf, Winter Soldier, whatever you want to call him. I need him there alongside with Sam Wilson. You can't split this pair up now. You just can't. The show ended with literally them walking off kind of into the sunset. The whole show was called Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but I need the pair. I think all of us need the pair. You can't break up this pair now. They need to go on adventures together. They really do. And I hope in the movies, in terms of action, we show White Wolf, Winter Soldier a little bit of love. So to wrap all of this up, what I'm going to say is that earlier, even before the first episode came out, I kept on saying how Falcon and the Winter Soldier was my most anticipated project of Phase 4. And it's funny because, well, it came and it went. That's it. We're done. Now we're going to move on to the rest of Phase 4. But Falcon and the Winter Soldier, what did I think of it in general? I thought it was great. Originally, I walked into it being like Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan, their chemistry is going to be super funny. They're going to be bantering off each other. But the drama is what stands out, surprisingly. I really love the way we're focusing on characters and their developments. We're focusing on Bucky Barnes' mental state and how he's dealing with that and his amends. And we're focusing on Sam Wilson and where his mind's at in terms of taking on the mantle of Captain America. And we're focusing on racism in America, which I never expected that a Marvel Studios show would have ever explored that. And I think tons of people were surprised by the fact that Marvel was willing to go there. So I salute them for doing that. This show takes Marvel Studios to a whole new level in terms of storytelling. And that's what I love about these grounded stories, and I'll keep telling you guys why these types of stories are my favorite from Marvel Studios. The grounded superhero stories, not just because of the grounded action, but just the characters and the people that we get to explore. And it feels so much more relatable. It feels like you can relate to them and it feels real. Listen, the show wasn't perfect. It was great and I fully enjoyed it. It did, at the end of the day, leave me wanting a little bit more there from the story and how we wrap some things up. But in general, I had a blast from episode 1 to episode 6. I really enjoyed it. And again, I walked into this show with my own expectations. And some of them were met, but there was just so many things that were talked about and so many themes explored that I would have never thought we would have went this way. And you know, the next Captain America movie, written by the same guy who wrote this, we can start exploring different themes, more mature themes. And when kids go to see it, they can sit through it and they could learn something about the real world. And adults can really relate to that as well. So in general, I think in terms of Marvel's storytelling, again, they knocked it out of the park. WandaVision was its own different conceptual thing, and I thought that was so much different from whatever we've seen in the MCU so far. Really applauded them. I was like, wow, they're taking big steps here, doing something completely different with WandaVision. And now we're seeing some familiar things in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but just the themes and the stories explored here were just great. Just there at the end left me wanting a little bit more from the show, but that's okay. I mean, it's the MCU. We keep going. It's kind of always expanding, so we'll see these characters again eventually, and maybe some of those things will be addressed. Yeah, we'll see where it goes. So yeah, those were my final thoughts on now Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Let me know down in the comments, what are some of your thoughts on the show? Did you love it? Did you not like it at all? Were you surprised of some of the things they talked about? And yeah, what did you think of the final? Leave all of that down in the comments. I would love to have a discussion with you about that. Leave a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. And I'll see you guys in the next video.